At 3:17 a.m., you hover above New York, holding a falling passenger jet with one hand, while every phone below records you shaking. The plane lands safely on the Hudson, 184 people alive, and the crowd chants your name like you are a god. By sunrise, your face covers 62 million screens, and your assistant Mira schedules 8 rescues before breakfast. Your breakfast costs $900, but you eat it in 6 seconds because a bridge in Seoul starts cracking live on satellite. You lift the bridge, weld the steel with your eyes, and a little girl gives you a paper crown covered in glitter. For 1 minute, you feel untouchable. Then your earpiece whispers coordinates to a fire nobody else has reported yet. Mira says the emergency came from your private threat system, the one only she and you can access. You fly to Chicago anyway, stop the warehouse fire, and find 0 trapped workers, 0 witnesses, and 1 security camera pointed at you. Back at headquarters, Mira hands you a black coffee and says too calmly that fame makes people invent patterns. Your bedroom has bulletproof glass, moon rocks, and a bed worth $40,000, but you still sleep facing the door. At 11:58 p.m., your powers flicker for 3 seconds, and the city outside suddenly sounds like it is holding its breath. Mira promises it is exhaustion, locks your schedule for tomorrow, and tells you to stop saving everyone alone. The next morning, 4,000 protesters surround your tower, holding signs accusing you of staging disasters for applause. A leaked video shows you arriving before the Chicago fire starts, and the timestamp is impossible to explain. You swear the video is fake, but Mira says the metadata is clean, down to the millisecond. Your fan mail drops from 90,000 messages a day to 312, and half of those say they are afraid of you. You try rescuing quietly. No cameras, no speeches, but every alley has someone already filming from the shadows. When you stop a subway derailment at 8:06 a.m., the driver screams that you caused the signal failure. You check the broken signal box and find a tiny gold fiber matching the lining of your own cape. Mira says enemies steal costume material all the time, but her eyes stay on the fiber longer than yours do. That night, you hear 7 heartbeats inside your supposedly empty headquarters. Then the elevator opens with nobody inside. You tear through every floor in 14 seconds, finding only cleaning robots, locked closets, and your own reflection looking guilty. For the first time in 9 years, you cancel every public appearance, and the silence feels louder than the applause ever did. Mira brings you soup at 2:12 a.m. and says the world will forgive you if you let her handle everything. You almost believe her, until your super hearing catches her whispering behind the door. Phase 2 begins tomorrow. At dawn, you break into Mira's office and find 47 disaster simulations labeled with your rescue routes. Before you can copy them, the office seals itself, oxygen drops, and an emergency broadcast says you attacked your own staff. You punch through the wall and escape, but the footage shows you destroying headquarters like a monster. The government gives you 6 hours to surrender at Liberty Island, or they will deploy the K9 satellite cannon. You call your old teammate Atlas for help, but he lets it ring twice, then blocks your number. You fly to your mother's farm in Kansas, the only place without cameras, and find drones waiting above the corn. Your mother hugs you anyway, but her hands shake when she asks if the things on television are true. You promise her you are still you. Then your powers flicker again, and every light in the farmhouse explodes. She flinches from you for half a second, and that hurts worse than any missile ever has. You leave before soldiers arrive, because staying would turn your childhood home into a battlefield. With 3 hours left, you hide under the Atlantic, listening to whales and 8 billion people debating whether you should die. Mira calls through your private channel, crying, saying she found the real culprit inside the old moon bunker. You know it could be a trap, but if she is right, you have 97 minutes to save your name. Inside the abandoned lunar bunker, you find your spare capes, voice samples, and a wall of fake rescue videos. Then the bunker doors slam shut, and Mira's voice says over the speakers, "You were always too easy to isolate." She appears behind armored glass, not crying now, wearing the calm smile she used before every disaster. Mira says she built the threat system, staged the fires, leaked the videos, and weakened your powers with your nightly coffee. You ask why, and she shows thousands of messages begging her to control the god who never asked permission. She says people do not want a hero, they want a leash, and she has been selling them one for $19.99 a month. The satellite cannon charges above Earth, aimed at the bunker, and Mira offers one deal: surrender publicly or die privately. You stop fighting the glass, close your eyes, and broadcast every heartbeat in the bunker to every phone on Earth. People hear Mira's steady pulse, your poisoned pulse, and her voice admitting everything before she realizes the channel is open. The world goes silent for 9 seconds, then 62 million screens switch from monster to victim. Mira runs for the escape pod, but the same lockdown she built traps her inside with all her perfect evidence. At sunrise, you save the city again, but when the crowd cheers, you fly higher where no one can touch you anymore.